little corn cobs. It's good to see ya. Welcome to the Comedy Store live stream. My name is Fifi Dosch, and you are watching the live from the belly room episode of Fifi Quest. It's my damn podcast, and you're watching it. And this is yeah, it's somewhat of a flimsy live podcast. I was gonna do it in the window. Shit, Mike, I went out. Oh, it's good. All right, he turned the monitor off. Mike Schmidt, everyone, on the boards. Board dude extraordinaire. I was just saying that I was going to be doing this in the window downstairs, so we could do the live podcast in front of people, but I got bumped up to the belly room. So now I'm just here alone in the belly room doing a live podcast for no one. It's kind of a if you do a live podcast in front of no one, it's a really if a tree falls in the forest kind of question. So, whatever. But you know what? You know what? I'm very excited because the reason I'm up here, and the reason that they needed to keep the OR window clear is because we're gonna do some stand up tonight. Shh. It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna don't tell Comrade Newsom who outlawed fun. Okay, he issued a raving anti-fun edict just because a few 100,000 people died. I don't know if you're watching this, if you're from California, but they have outlawed fun. To discredit just because of this fake disease to discredit our brave president. Yeah, I tried. That's what I did. I tried to take my mask off briefly to smell a brief daisy smell for 3 seconds, and Governor Gavin Newsom jumped out of a bush, and he said, "I see that, Fifi Dosch. I'm fining you $2,000." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Comrade Newsom. Don't put me in the gulag." And then he said one more thing. He said, "Hey, Fifi, have you ever had an abortion?" And I was like, "Well, I'm transgendered, Governor. I can't have an abortion." And he just looked at me and he said, "We'll see about that." Oh, so this is what it's going to be, huh? I don't know who's all watching this. Could be a lot, could be a little. Hopefully a lot. Just going to do my jokes. By the way, I guess I should, hey, regular Fifi Quest listeners, thanks for listening. Appreciate your current support. New live stream people, should tell you who I am. My name is Fifi Dosch, and I'm a paid regular here, and you might not recognize me because I used to be a male stand-up comic named Joe Dosch, and I started transitioning into a woman right before the COVID quarantine, which is a hell of a way to do it. Let me tell you, Jesus Christ, before quarantine, it was fucked up because I remember, you know, I remember the day that it hit me when it was like, I'm gonna transition into a woman. That's what my deal is. That's my truth, and I'm gonna live it. It was the same day Kobe died, which was fucking surreal. Let me tell you, because the whole city of Los Angeles is just walking around sadder than I've ever seen anyone, and I'm just like, what's my wedding dress gonna be look like? And that's what my 2020's just been. It's been the happiest goddamn year of my life. All the while it's everyone else's shittiest one. You know what it's like being the only happy person in the world? It's fucking weird. It's weird, okay? Everyone else, that got like those Middle Ages, long-beaked Black Plague doctors throwing grandmas into mass graves, and I'm just on Pinterest all day looking at Kentucky Derby hats. It's an odd way to be. Um, yeah, so here I am doing a live Fifi Quest. By the way, my podcast Fifi Quest, which you can watch on my YouTube channel, I'm Fifi Dosch, FIFIDOSCH. It's just a week by week of what's going on with me and life and my transition and how I'm becoming, the fucking person I want to be. and it's also like it's visual too, my podcast, so you can see how I'm like actually, changing and growing these tits. I don't have too much in the tit department to speak of right now, and you can't tell right now because I'm wearing a tasteful maxi dress. But everybody, my ass is coming in like that. It's awesome. I'm enjoying the shit out of it. Um, I'm knocking vases off of tables when I'm walking by. It's goddamn great. So I'd like that to serve as a message of hope, everyone. That in these turbulent times of disease and racism and fascism and QAnon, take a light of hope that my ass is coming in. May my ass appear to you like a sunbeam across the horizon, while thus spake Zarathustra plays. And you can think about that when times get tough. Uh, yeah. So I'm in here in the belly room doing this thing. This room used to do the show Roast Battle in a lot, which I used to do as a boy. Remember getting called faggot in this room a lot. Um, in this fucking haunted ass room. Yeah. By the way, if you don't remember me from the Comedy Store, you could have seen me on as Joe Dosch on Comedy Central's Roast Battle. Which, by the way, boy, am I fucking thankful that my only TV credit is of me as a boy yelling out racial slurs on TV. That's really aged fucking great. Every goddamn meeting I've taken post protest, it's just been, oh, Fifi, do you have any credits on? And I just go, hamina, 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 hamina. Damn it. So I don't know, you guys. I think, by the way, that's my plan. If, I feel like I'm maybe immune to getting canceled, because anything I, ever said as a guy, I can, my plan, if I ever get a fucking Twitter mob after me, I'm just gonna start crying and be like, oh, it's a very hard time in my life, and just hope they fuck off. So that's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, hope you guys are all safe. I hope you're all having a good time. Hope you're staying sane and taking care of yourself. And you know what? I hope you're not giving up on life. Because I've about had it with all the goddamn bitching and complaining out there. Okay? Everyone is all like, we'll never come back from this. This is the worst thing to ever happen. Life will never ever be the same. Shut the fuck up. Shut up with that. Okay? This is, you know what this time is? It's the 60s minus Vietnam plus like 10% of AIDS. Buck the fuck up. This isn't even scarier than AIDS. Not by a long damn shot. Do you remember AIDS? Remember the goddamn Zoomers? You don't remember the 80s, but goddamn queer people were going to 9 funerals every 7 days, okay? So buck up. And you know what we're doing now? We're fucking putting videos of Neil Patrick Harris and his husband's home, their tasteful Manhattan brownstone and architectural digest, and we're starting, goddamn child drag pageants. So we're doing great, and so can America. So buck the fuck up. Stay positive. Stay positive, turkey, or I'll bust your lip. You think this is scarier than goddamn World War I? That shit was so scary it inspired J.R. Tolkien to write Lord of the Rings. And the only reason he wrote that is because he had PTSD and they didn't have goddamn incel forums back then. So no more moping. Stay positive. We got challenges and we're going to face them, okay? Quit your belly aching. Oh, yeah, I feel grateful. I feel grateful for life. I feel grateful for, I get to be who I really am now. And really, really, you know what? I'm really, really grateful I get to perform at the Comedy Store. This is the greatest goddamn place on earth, and it's so good to be in this room doing a podcast for you people. And I'm gonna do some stand up in a minute. Shh. Shh. Don't get Mayor Eric Garcetti's fun Stasi called on us. Yeah, it's an honor, and it's the greatest thing ever to be able to perform in this comedy club with look at all the names painted on the wall, all those wonderful rapists we got on the wall. By the way, it's been a banner year for comedians raping people. Let me tell you, you would think that the pandemic would slow down the rape in a smidge, and negative on that. I gotta say, all those comedian sex scandals that have happened this year, they really hit me personally. Just because I came out as a trans woman this year, which means that I rape women in ladies' rooms all the time, and I don't need the heat. You understand? Ah, that's it. I had someone girl say that to me one time. Well, I just think that trans women shouldn't go into bathrooms because we need a safe space from sexual assault. Do you? You need a safe space from the people who take pills that make it so they don't get boners anymore? You do? Do you? Remember when J.K. Rowling said her shit earlier this year and all the trans people cried? You don't need a safe space from people who cry over Harry Potter, you faggots. Ah, jeez Louise. Also, I'm not gonna rape you in a bathroom, in a public bathroom with foot traffic coming in and out, just your screams echoing across the linoleum for all to hear. Are you familiar with rape? It doesn't sound like you are. You talk a big game. Yeah. So that's what's up with that. And I tell you what too, it's been hard on comedians this year, you know, just in that I mean, maybe your nurses or whoever have it harder, but the comedians, the real heroes. Uh we I'm just saying it's been tough to like figure out shit to talk about with you guys. It's tougher to write jokes because it's just hard to get shit to happen to you these days. You just end up writing jokes about TV. If I weren't turning into a woman, I don't know what the fuck I'd be telling you right now, you guys. That's been my whole COVID. Just I feel like I've been locked in a room. Feel like I'm turning into a werewolf with tits. Yeah, just writing a goddamn bunch of jokes about Netflix for crying out loud. Which, by the way, I've actually I was watching the Three Stooges the other day, you know, and when you think about it, that show it's about three severely mentally disabled men, and every week they just struggle to hold down employment and they can't because of their disabilities. And it's like the 30s in the Dust Bowl, so there's no social services to help them at all. And they just take their frustration with their mental retardation just violently out on each other. And when you think about it like that, it's actually a lot funnier. that I think if I were directing that show, I would make the Stooges get very real, and it would just be like Larry on the floor weeping, like, "Oh Mo, why did my mother abandon me?" And he like Mo just beats him with a wrench, like, "Shut up, Chowderhead, I'm mad at God." And then every the end of every episode is just Mo, Larry, and Curly in three body bags, just getting thrown into a mass grave for hobos while just the end credits playing. Wah, 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 wah. Another thing I watched was I watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory the other day, and that movie, that's a lot darker than you remember it, really. And I don't mean because of like the boat ride or the kids maybe die when they get sucked in the chocolate tube or whatever. What I'm saying is that movie was actually shot in Germany in the 70s. So that means like the Oompa Loompas were little people around in Germany in the 40s. Like the Oompa Loompas saw some shit, you guys. Do you think they got the set and saw the chocolate river and they were just like, "Oh, this reminds me of the time I hid in the outhouse while they murdered my wife." Like maybe that's where they got the songs from. Like maybe the SS just showed up at their house. They're like, "What do you do when your genetic disgrace? You are impure to the Aryan race." Fuck! I need stand-up to come back, you guys. I can't. I can't just have these thoughts alone in my house. I can't go to my goddamn trans people meetings and talk about Nazi Holocausted Oompa Loompas while they're all crying about the Starbucks commercial where they wrote their right pronouns on a cup. I don't relate to that shit. I like it here. This is my fucking safe space. Don't ever let anyone tell you that the store is like mean or vicious or intolerant. I can't tell you how like supportive everyone was here and how awesome they thought me transitioning was and how all the comics were like, "Oh, fucking Joe is doing his first set as Fifi. Let's all go watch." I feel so much goddamn love here. This is the most wonderful, amazing place in the world, the Comedy Store. When life gets back to normal, I don't know where you're all watching from, but it's worth a trip out to LA to come here and watch comedy. It's just hang out. It's a goddamn hoot. It's a goddamn hoot. It's haunted as shit, though. That's no bullshit, everybody. I don't know if you know why. It's because it used to be a mafia nightclub. This place, you know, and not so like probably a lot of people got killed here. But not only that, this was back in the 40s, and in the 40s, abortion was illegal. So the mafia ran abortion. Which that's crazy to think when you think about it. The mafia running abortion back at the time, like okay, like imagine it's like 1945 or whatever, and I'm just some housewife, and you know, like my husband's been away at the war the whole time, and he comes home and he gives me a big kiss on the cheek, and I brush the Jap ash out of his hair, and and I go home and like I'm a housewife now, and I'm all bored or whatever, and because like during the war, like while he's off fighting, I was like doing Rosie the Riveter shit and like putting atomic bombs together, and I'm like, they're all stressed. I'm like, but move it out, ladies. We gotta get these goddamn atomic bombs out to drop them on the Japs or whoever. And then all my friends at the bomb factory are like, "Oh, Fifi, you ought to slow down. You shouldn't work 16-hour days." And I'll be like, "I've had enough of your commie nonsense, Dolores." And like that's really stressful, but like it's engaging. So I'm all like ramped up all the time, and you know, and also I'm working there, and it's the 40s, so you know, my boss doesn't know how to talk to women, and he's just saying stuff to me like, "What's the matter with you, Josephine? Is it your time of the month?" And and all I can think to say back is like, "It's gonna be Tojo's time of the month, sir." And you know, and my point is that's all that's all really stressful and it's a lot of I'm all wound up and now I'm just at home being a housewife and I'm bored as shit and I'm gonna act out, like you know what I mean? So like one day I end up getting raped by the mailman and the cops come and I'm like, oh officer, the last thing I remember, I was hiding the house keys in the mailbox for safekeeping and the next thing I know, it's just the point of it is all that happens, and then you gotta go to the mafia to get an abortion. That's crazy. I mean, I think you'd want a little gentleness from your abortion doctor. I'm not sure if a mobster is really prepared to give you like the bedside manner. I think he'd probably just be like, yanking a vacuum out of your pussy and just be like, bada bing, bada boom, your baby's gone, all right? All right? Get the fuck out of here, you fucking who, hey, may the Holy Mother forgive you, huh? Yeah. I think the mob should still run abortion. I do. For one thing, you think their clinics are going to get protested? No. No, they're not. How far do you think that would go? Just imagine that, some pro-life lady, just some gummy bitch in a ankle length corduroy skirt is just like, it's a child, not a choice. Clunk. Clunk is the answer to that. Think they're going to repeal Roe v. Wade if the mafia ran abortion? No. The Supreme Court would act like they're going to, and then, the next day they would get a photo in the mail of just Dealey Plaza, if you know what I mean. Anyway. It's been so weird in LA lately, you guys, just what with the, the plagues and the race, everything, and, forests and otherwise, just, wish everyone would just stop being so fucking racist already. Just cut the baloney on that, I remember, do you guys remember when they were going to remake The Little Mermaid? They were going to do a live Little Mermaid, and they were going to cast that young black girl to play Ariel, and then racist people freaked out, and they were like, yeah, Ariel can't be a black girl, and, that's horrible. It's horrible. However, I read that story, and I thought, Ariel is a girl who falls in love with a white guy and then never says anything. She should probably be Asian. I mean, like, that shit tracks, right? Like, Triton's Kingdom can be like the San Francisco Bay. Prince Eric works for Google. Like, that shit tracks. Am I wrong? I like that they recast the Disney princesses to include everyone, so every race of people can feel like they can be a Disney princess. Although I do think that Jasmine from Aladdin should be white. Just because that whole character, all she does in that movie is go, "I'm a princess. Isn't my life unfair?" Like that white girl, right? And when you think about it, what does she really do in that movie? Jasmine goes, I'm going to sneak out of my dad's mansion and into the poor part of town and pretend to be a beggar. But then when shit gets too real, I'm going to go back to my dad's house. Like, that's Brooklyn, basically. I like that they recast the Disney princesses. I think Belle from Beauty and the Beast should be a lesbian, you know. Just because, because she thinks she's like the only one who reads, right? Also, she doesn't want to be with Gaston. Are you not fucking well, girl? What's wrong with you? Like, he doesn't like books, bitch. I would use an open book as a pillow while he mashed my face into it. If I were that girl in a quaint provincial town, they'd all be singing about me like, there goes that odd girl with her face covered in ink. ridiculous. Uh, you ever see The Hunchback of Notre Dame? Um, I think Esmeralda from that movie should be trans, actually, because a lot of people want to have sex with her, but, they're either really creepy looking or they want to set her on fire after. Let me tell you something. I did that joke live a couple times before the lockdown went out, and that last tag never worked. And I'm kind of not bummed that it doesn't work. To be perfectly honest with you, I think it's funny though. It's me dealing with demons. Fucking deal with it. Anyway, so I have been able to travel a little bit since oh fuck, my phone's ringing. One sec. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves, live stream. I'm back. I'm sorry to leave you for 30 seconds. You people need quality content out there in COVID land. Netflix aren't going to last forever, and do ya? You need me to keep you entertained. Because if you run out of content, then the goddamn, you know, angel will open the seventh seal, and out of it, 12 beasts with blasphemous names written on their multiple heads will emerge. So I gotta keep dancing and shimmying and shaking. That's my job. What was I saying? Oh, I've been traveling around a lot, which is good. Just, going hiking, going up to like Montana and stuff, and seeing friends and petting goats and been passing through some red states along the way. And I gotta say, it's been wonderful. I've had a hoot. People have been super cool, friendly, all around. Um, I unlocked a bit of a trans achievement. One time I peed in a women's room in a Walmart in Pocatello, Idaho. So big ups to me. By the way, a Walmart is just a Target that isn't bullshitting itself. Can we admit that? City people like, these rednecks. Why did they shop at Walmart? They're simply, what do you think a fucking Target is? It's just gussied up and putting on airs. Walmart should stand up like Scarface at the end of the movie and be like, you need me to go, that's the bad guy. But yeah, I spent a little time. I spent a little time on a farm, my friend's farm up in Montana, and it was fun. I learned a lot about agriculture. That was delightful. Which, by the way, I don't know if any of you motherfuckers have had real celery, like grown out of the ground in a greenhouse, real celery, but it'll change the way you think about produce. It's delicious. Celery is delicious. I don't know what this bullshit they got going on at the store ought to be illegal. Outlaw grocery store celery and not stand-up comedy, Gavin. Oh, you want to know something fun I learned on the farm? Um, did you guys know that there's actually a black market for uh for for horse semen for artificial insemination? You know, which means there are people who make a living breaking into stables and sneakily jerking off horses and stealing their cum. Guys, I don't know if they're making another Ocean's 11 movie, but, fuck a bank. Have I got a story for you? Like, just imagine that, like they're getting a team together, and they're in like an NFL game or something, and they go be like, you might know him as Daryl Jenkins, greatest wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but back in the game, he was the greatest horse cum catcher around. And they just kept him like, come on, man, one big score. And they're like, no, dude, I'm making great money in the NFL. And they're like, nah, man, it's not, we don't steal come for the money. It's about the thrill. And then they got like, they just got all together and like, we're gonna need the top jerk off man to pull off a heist like this. And then they just go get their old buddy, and he's like a high school gym coach now or something. Like, oh, come on, Jeff, one more big last score. And he's like, no, guys, come on, I'm out of that game. These days, I'm just teaching kids how to climb the rope. Oh man. Anyway, so by the way, I'll tell you one thing I have learned about transitioning lately. It's really given me a perspective, like being a woman who has lived as a man. I really love the perspective it gives me on the world. Like I have lived as the other gender, and I don't feel envious of them. I never have to walk around thinking like fucking men do this and the other. I don't feel that way at all. I think guys' lives kind of suck. All their stuff is ugly. You never take bubble baths. Like, what's the matter with you assholes? Like, tell you one goddamn thing: sex is way better for us. It gives me no joy to report that. It is. It's s- sex on estrogen. You 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 just keep coming, you guys. You just keep fucking coming. It's incredible. I was almost late for this podcast because I didn't budget enough time to come. It's incredible. You know? I'm still nutting on the drive over here. I'm like, well, I gotta get to the belly room. It's amazing. Women orgasms are like, I'm going to get in touch with my body and really feel myself for the diaphanous goddess I really am. I know what male sex is like. I know what your sex drive it's like. It's just yelling at you all day like, come, just come. Now come. You did it. Now go to sleep. And you woke up. Now invent something. Now come again. Now just fucking die. Just die. Just die. You fulfilled your purpose. Just blow your brains out of your dick and into your skull, you piece of shit. It's a horrible situation. Oh, so one more thing I wanted to share with you guys. A couple of people have asked me um, what I think about. Did you ever hear about that trans woman in the UFC who she was a man and then she transitioned into a woman and she joined like the women's league in the UFC. And what a lot of people don't know about that story is she didn't take her testosterone blockers. Like trans women, we take meds so we like our testosterone levels don't go down. She was taking estrogen, but she wasn't taking the testosterone blockers, so she was fighting in the women's league with the testosterone levels of a man, and it turns out she did very well. Oh. I mean, look, I get it. This is tempting to abuse. I'm not saying it's right, but it's fucking tempting. I can't tell you how many emails I've wanted to send to like producers in Hollywood to be like, "Hey, guy, I wrote this pilot about me coming out as a trans woman. I was wondering if you wanted to take a look." Unless you don't think that's a voice that should be heard. It's not right, but it's tempting. That's all I'm saying. And by the way, here's what I think about that, that trans woman UFC fighter. So you're telling me she did something sneaky and self-serving, uh when she got called on it, she wouldn't own up to it, and then she tried to spin the whole thing around like she was being the victim. She sounds like a real woman. I mean, Sounds legit to me. I say just bury the needle. Go all in on it. I mean, I would think if you were really committed to womanhood, then we would have seen the commissioner on the UFC, on the TV next day saying some shit like, "Look, uh, Fallon misrepresented herself and she didn't take her testosterone blockers, and it really endangered the lives of our other women fighters in the league." But I think what I really learned is that sometimes I need to work on my tone and how I say things. All right. I think that's a podcast, everyone. That's been the live Fifi Quest for the Comedy Store. It's been a goddamn blessing to be back here again and to just run some jokes by you guys. And hey, guys who regularly listen to Fifi Quest, I love you. Uh, this is this is basically me doing stand up on a podcast, and guys, like anyone in the live stream, if you want to check out this every week, it's Fifi Quest Podcast, FIFIQUEST. My name is Fifi Dosch. That's FIFIDOSCH. You can follow me on YouTube. You can watch the podcast with video. You can listen to me just audio on Apple, Spotify, all the podcast places. And if you want to email me at FifiQuestPodcast at gmail.com, I'll read your email. And the podcast is me goofing around, talking about what's going on with me, and talking about how I'm becoming the person I want to be. And I would love to share that with you all, guys. Thanks for letting me share my jokes with you. And hey, shout out to Mike Schmidt for working the board, setting this whole thing up. And I think that's an episode. Mr. Schmidt, take us out, please. Love you all.